4. Türkiye Döngüsel Ekonomi Haftası'na tekrar hoş geldiniz. Etkinliğimiz öğleden sonraki panellerimizle devam ediyor. İlk panelimizin başlığı Nordik ülkelerinden iyi uygulama örnekleri, döngüsel tasarım ve inovasyon. Moderatörümüz DCube Sürdürülebilirlik Döngüsel Ekonomi AŞ Kurucu Ortağı Sayın Gülcan Ergün ve konuşmacılarımız Ethica Kurucu Ortak ve CEO'su Sayın Paula Fontell ve The Upcycl kurucusu Sayın Rikke Ullested halihazırda yerlerini aldılar. Sizler de hazırsanız başlıyoruz. Buyurun.
Herkese merhaba. Oturumumuz İngilizce olacaktır. O yüzden önden bir söylemek istedim. Welcome everyone. We have a very important session at the moment, at least I think. We will be discussing the idea of circular design and innovation from the perspective of Nordic countries, and my very distinguished speakers today will be sharing their experiences in this field. So I will use my advantage as a moderator since I have made the opening speech today. I will not make a very long speech right now and will pass on to the questions as we have a very limited time. So I will start with Paula. Let me just put on my glasses. Paula, could you please tell us a bit about what Ethica does and share your views on how Nordic countries assess the concept of circular design? Maybe give some ideas or information about the ongoing developments, the projects or the programs in general regarding these issues, and of the ones that maybe Ethica attends and is involved in. And of course, we are very interested, very curious to learn about what you think of the new EU Eco-design Directive and the idea of this digital product passport, which we will be hearing more and more in the upcoming times, how it is perceived by the region, Nordic countries, and Finland maybe in specifically. Okay?
Thank you, Gülcan. That was quite many questions already. I've tried to capture some of the questions and answers in a short presentation, maybe if I go that through quickly, and then we have opportunities to continue the discussion and dive deeper in these topics. But before getting started, I would like to just thank you all very much for the invitation and kind of share a bit of my story. I was here last time, year and a half ago, in the last Turkey Circular Economy Week, and as we've been talking a lot about the importance of collaboration and working together to advance circular economy, I think the last event already was very successful in that, since I've been back many times since that is not anymore the first time in Istanbul. So really happy to be back here. Just a couple of words first maybe about Ethica and our experience with circular design, circular economy consultancy. Ethica was founded 12 years ago as consultancy focusing only on circular business development. So we've been around quite a while, and 12 years ago there was talks about circular economy, but it has been amazing how huge the transition has already been within the last 10 years to date, when it's a big topic on the EU agenda, and all the continents, all the countries are building their own roadmaps. At Ethica, we work mostly with businesses and companies, and our services could be grouped into kind of three categories. It's circular business strategies, which means strategic targets related to circular economy and how companies actually transform their business strategies from linear to circular ones. Then circular product design, which to us equals quite a lot with eco-design, and then helping companies to build circular value chains, which has also been already discussed today several times, that we need those partnerships and we need the system level design as well. So those are the topics that we work with, but now going to the kind of Nordic views and what's happening in the Nordic countries and in relation to eco-design and circular design. I wanted to take here just a few examples of higher education in Finland, and these are some of the master's degree programs that we currently already have about circular economy. And I wanted to bring these examples just to highlight the fact that we really see circular design as the mainstream design in the future. And therefore circular design and circular economy is integrated in a lot of our education. So it's really not just like one more demand, compliancy demand within the EU regulatory framework, but it's more like the way we need to start functioning in the future. Just Nordic example from that phase. And you also asked about the programs, projects that Ethica is involved in. This is about the same topics, but for companies and for businesses. Nordic Circular Design Program has 30 Nordic companies participating in it, and a Nordic Council of Ministers and Nordic Innovation is financing the program. We have a consortium of circular economy experts from Finland, Norway, and Denmark, Sweden, working together with these 30 companies. And this program also touches the topics of strategic targets and objectives, value chains, but then there is a special track for R&D teams who are working on very pragmatic circular product level solutions and working on their concepts and services. Unfortunately, from this program yet I'm not able to share very specific results, because those will only be announced in May when we have the final stage for this program. But the program has lasted for 8 months. And of course, in this kind of programs, they provide the companies the support to the questions of how are we able to comply with eco-design and all the kind of EU regulations in practical terms. What does it mean for my product, the materials, how you design the product, how you can make it recyclable and so forth. So very pragmatic. And what is also maybe kind of a best practice in the program is that there is a lot of time for these 30 companies to discuss with each other, form those business relationships and collaborations, and learn from their own kind of experiences and share experiences and best practices. But looking at some of the kind of more concrete examples from the companies, these are some of the companies that were participating in the last program that was a Finnish one, but very, very similar. And this maybe gives you an idea what circular design or eco-design might mean in practice. But also, we don't think that eco-design is just about compliance. It is a lot about innovation and developing those kind of solutions that are commercially successful, that consumers love. That's also equally, I would say, important aspects here. You can see some of the innovation from Finnish companies. For example, Kiilto has, because in circular design it is important that this is one example from construction industry, and in order to make even buildings such that they can be dismantled and all the products and components can be recycled, you need to be able to dismantle them. And Kiilto has for years been developing adhesives that are as strong as possible and just kind of glue everything like very tightly together. And now they had to change their whole mindset to start developing glues and adhesives that you can actually take apart easily. So a very different kind of mindset. Mirka is another Finnish company, and they are developing 100% recyclable abrasives for construction industry. And they've made big investments in a new plant where they can actually recycle the abrasives. And Lumene taking or using a lot of industry side streams as material inputs. But these are just examples of those concepts that in those training and development training and development programs the companies are developing. And then one more, maybe I take it. Thank you. Then one a bit different example. This is a program of Business Finland. This is maybe a best practice for financing circular economy and circular innovations. Business Finland has this program where they're funding circular ecosystem projects, meaning that there is kind of one leading bigger organization, like in this case it was Valmet that gets a bit bigger funding for their project, but then they need to also plan the entire ecosystem and partnerships for advancing circular economy, and also the smaller companies and startups who are participating in that program get part of the funding. And I think that is a great way of funding circular innovations and also funding the collaboration. So just as one more example. And you also asked about kind of what are the rising themes and what do we think about the eco-design and how is the eco-design directive driving the development in the Nordic countries. I've put in here in this picture kind of some of the themes that are important when you start designing products according to circular design principles. Basically, circular design means product life cycle design, and you need to take into account the whole life cycle of the product, starting, of course, from these strategic targets that I just mentioned. And we believe it's really important that the ownership of circular design topics is within the company management as well as in the R&D team. But even though you need to look at the whole product life cycle and of course also the energy usage and the emissions and water usage and everything throughout the whole product life cycle, there are some aspects that we can see a big increase in companies' interest. I would say that the material innovations, all the recycled materials and all the possibilities there are something that increasing number of companies in the Nordics are starting to look into, and they are building, for example, circular material banks and kind of listing and really looking for those innovations. And then also another topic that is rising is the maintenance, repair and recyclability, how to design products so that the recycling becomes easier, that you can maintain, you can upgrade the products during the use period. And maybe now during last year or even like during last half a year, we see a lot of increase in interest in those end-of-life solutions. Like big companies start building and planning their own take-back systems so that they can start really kind of owning the materials that are in their products. And as we've seen or heard in the earlier speeches about kind of everything that is happening in geopolitics and increasing interest in the raw materials and kind of not only companies but countries becoming really, really interested in kind of where are the critical raw materials and who gets access to them. We see a lot of kind of companies also raising their interest and actually starting to see the importance of circular economy for resilience and kind of getting ownership to those materials. So that's a really important part as well. And okay. I was just about to hand over to you, but this is, yeah. Maybe one more, just quick mention about the digital product passports. What's happening with this topic? I'd say in the Nordics, we've been talking about the digital product passports for like last 2 years, and now we see companies starting to actually build them and start collecting information, start getting ready, even though we don't yet know exactly what will be the data requirements for the digital product passports, but there is a lot to do. So companies are looking for those technological platforms. This is one example of our collaboration partner that has this kind of tracking cloud platform enabling the kind of data management throughout the whole value chain. So looking for different kinds of technological solutions, starting to understand the data requirements, starting to gather the data to be ready in time.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add?
So very quickly, we asked from 27 leading companies in Finland that what are the key topics in circular economy for them? Why are they investing in circular economy so heavily? And these were the answers that they are looking for value chain solutions and partnering specifically with their customers on those innovations and being able to provide customer value and learning and skills. That's also still in the Nordics very, very important. And that is why we're very much investing in education also. But no, I'd
Well,
like to have more.
Thanks a lot. Very important information that you have given us. And I think the 3 examples that you have shared with us, they are on the market, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're commercialized. Yeah.
So just a quick question maybe. How long did it take for them to finish the design procedure and then the process and then go on the market, the production, the products? Like a year, 5 years?
Yeah, I don't know the exact kind of times when the the initial concepts had been created, but I would say approximately 3 to 5 years.
3
at
to
least
5 years.
It is the kind of development time from the kind of concept idea to commercial product.
So it's very important to start from now, and then in 3 or 5 years we will be seeing the shift from linear products to maybe in at least some level to circular products.
The EU schedule for the Eco-design Directive is extremely ambitious.
Yeah, very rigid.
So we should all be working on those concepts already to have them kind of ready.
Exactly.
By
And
2030.
there is this mass data regarding digital product passport. We don't know what we are going to involve in the creation of the DPP, so it's something very important that we need to work on, focus on, because I mean the circular design is, as you have mentioned, contains many different pillars, starting from strategy level up until the after use, a cradle to cradle concept. So.
But I think the kind of biggest mistake that we could do at this point of time is to wait for all the details to be ready by the kind of EU and those working groups, because there is so much to be done with the data collection and everything. You can, of course, always change the data contents according to the data requirements when they are ready, but you cannot build such a system in just like half a year or even in a year.
Yes,
so
it takes time.
better
Definitely.
Started. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And also your emphasis on the higher education is also very valuable, as we have all mentioned that the qualifications are circular qualifications are something that needs to be strengthened globally. So I hope that we'll have similar programs getting more and more implemented in Turkey as well. Thanks a lot for this round. I will turn to Rikke and ask my question. Just a second. It's a similar question actually, but of course we would like to learn what Upcycl does.
Different answers.
Maybe Paula mostly talked about circular design, but material part is also as much important as the design part. And how your work contributes to circular design is something that I'm very curious to learn about. And of course, we would like to learn some good cases from you as well, and your thoughts on the Eco-design Directive as well. So the floor is yours. I think we are going to start with the video. Videoyu oynatabilir miyiz?
Yeah, let's start with a small video. Hello, I'm Rikke Ullested, and I'm so happy to welcome you to the Upcycl. Here at the Upcycl, we believe in more than creating sustainable solutions together. We believe in fostering a community where every person plays a vital role in creating a better future. Our journey is guided by a deep respect for resources and a shared commitment in making a positive impact on our planet. At the Upcycl, we are not just a business. We are a passionate community of like-minded companies driven by our common purpose. Together we strive to send discarded materials back into the value chain. Each material is infused with a unique story and new possibilities. It's not just about what we make, it's about the values we uphold and the connections we forge along the way. Picture this tight-knit community where everyone shares surplus materials and the value of using these already existing materials. It's this sense of going back while running forward, working together with a strong meaning that drives us. Whether you're a newcomer or a returning friend, together we can create a future filled with opportunities for growth and for positive change. Because we can only be circular together.
So that was just a small teaser, a small appetizer of what we do. I usually say that at the Upcycl, we are a startup, we are from Denmark, we are only 5 years old. So also, as we heard an earlier talker saying, that we have to do a lot of mistakes, and we do plenty of mistakes. We go all the wrong directions, we have to go back and start up and go back and forward, so it's, it's really startup life. But I used to say that at the Upcycl, what we do is that we actually do circular economy. And in some way, I hear myself saying that it is quite simple. It is quite tangible, it's quite simple. But of course, we know of all the talkers here that it is also very, very, very complicated. And there's so many structures. But what we do at the Upcycl is actually quite simple. Myself, I'm not educated as a circular economist. I don't know if that's even a title, but I'm actually an industrial designer and architect. So I've been running a design agency for 15 years, working with large corporations like Lego. Maybe you know Lego with all the bricks, and been working with Grundfos pumps and a lot of mechanics. And I've been the way I found out to create the Upcycl and to make this business was working with these companies. So we were working a lot with. I know what it looks like behind a large lean industry. I know the amounts of waste. I know when you produce a chair like this, how much waste is generated before the chair is even used. We have reports saying that when we do chairs, tables, carpets, rooftops, doors, everything that we surround us with, we have approximate 21% of the material that is discarded. It's cut off because it's too long, it has to be round, it has to have another shape, so it's cut off. Or maybe there's a small fault. In glass, for example, or in acrylics, you have maybe a small air bubble, or you have something that's produced, so if it's for a car, you cannot use it, but maybe you can actually use it if it was for an exhibition, or if it was for for another use in another industry. So 21% of these materials that has not even been used yet are discarded. And I found myself in my old company in the design agency having a project for a client where I could use the material that I knew was in the dumpster of one of my other clients. And I was like, should I go knock the doors and say, hey, can I see what you have in your dumpster? And then I started, who has made the overview of all the stuff we have in the dumpster? Someone must have made the overview so I can see, do you have aluminium? Do you have acrylics? Because then maybe we could swap. And it wasn't there, and I was like, oh my God, then I have to do it myself. Yeah, quite annoying actually, because we were running a quite good business, and then suddenly it's like, oh my God, I have to do it myself. So I had to walk out the door and start the Upcycl. So that's how it all started. So the Upcycl is a B2B platform. It's a platform that allows companies to trade their industrial, you can call it waste, or you can call it surplus, you can call it materials, resources, whatever, but there's a lot of waste out there. Actually, the 21% I'm just talking about is 100 times as much as the textile waste we have. We just don't see it. I mean, no one goes look in the dumpster behind a factory. They don't do it in Denmark anyway. So we are a B2B company allowing for companies to trade their material streams, their waste streams. And on top of that, when they trade with each other, then we can calculate the footprint and give the data back to each side of them. So it's a win-win, because when you trade, then someone is selling and someone is buying at a lower price. So the ones who have the waste, they can turn the waste stream into a revenue, and the ones who want to use it, which is the hard part, they can buy it cheaper, and then they both get data. So it's a dating site, it's an Airbnb, it's a Too Good To Go thing where we bring the market. Oops, here we go again. So the potential of waste is, like I said, it's 21% as an average of all materials that are wasted in all kinds of manufacturing industries, from cars. We have some industries that are kind of heavy. The gaskets, the sealing industry, making sealings for pump, for example, they have up to 70% of waste of materials that they just bought, they never used it. So it's pre-use, all of it. And this is what it's totally normal. This is small scale, but it's these kinds of materials. Normal materials, carpets, steel, woods. So this is what it looks like everywhere. I mean, it's nothing it's totally normal. In the Nordics, we would be a bit ashamed of this like some years ago. But now you have to show what you have, so you can send the materials into circulation. We call it new waste because 90% of what we trade has never even been used. And then we have some material streams that have been used, like it could be, for example, we have carpets from the exhibition industry, and we call that old waste. So it's pre and post use. The materials that we take in has to be quite uniform, and then it has to keep coming. So we never take a batch of something, because no one can use a batch of anything in a competitional world where we have to have competition, we have to go big scale in order to make the impact. So the 21% like equals this number, and this number, it's every year. This numbers equals 8,000 of these old twin towers every year. It's that amount that we are talking about. It's so much, you won't even believe it. And it's so much money that is just wasted. So it's a lot. Yeah, so that's about what we do. I brought some cases. Should I just jump into it? Yeah. And feel free to ask me some questions if, So we do circular economy, so we move materials. And we are driven by wanting to reduce the emission, reduce the virgin materials, and reduce waste, of course, by creating really good business on both sides. Then we can make things run fast. And we need things to run really fast because, things are moving in the wrong direction. I have some cases from our member. Our business model is made in the way that companies on both sides of the circle, that means companies who have a manufacturing company running and have waste streams, very normal, are on one side, we call them suppliers, and on the other side, you have buyers, companies who can use and utilize the material stream. And as one of the former speakers said, a market is actually occurring of companies who are looking for these material streams which are highly sustainable, and in the Nordics you have to count the data, and they count 0, which is quite good for them. So we see a market coming up of companies who wants to buy the waste streams. Not all of it, but some of it. So I mean, there might be some opportunities for saying who has got these particular waste streams as it is now, and then we might have some buyers in the Nordics, because it's really, there's a demand going on now from the customer. Not everywhere, but we see it's moving. And here I'll give you some examples. This is actually an old design, but it's been relaunched. And this small of the chairs, the legs here, then the steel pipes, they come from a company doing wheelbarrows. So when they bend a wheelbarrow, they cut off some of the pipes, and we send the pipes to these companies who put them into the chairs. So it's a win-win for both of them. They make a smarter deal, no one wastes material, but they have to lean in together in order to make it. And then we handle the logistics, the trade, the pricing, stuff like that, the calculations. And this company, these are pillows, and it's made from airbags from cars. So this is airbags from cars that has not been... and it's an Icelandic brand called Folk Reykjavik. And Iceland is moving quite heavily as well. And these are being sold at, I think, this is high-end pillows. And that's also one of the insights, that we have to target high-end markets. We have to take these streams and upcycle them into high-ends. We are not going to put them into low products. We need to put the thing high and the branding high. So this is quite expensive pillows, and then getting sold in some quite expensive stores in Copenhagen, Iceland, Sweden. This is an example of these, I think it's called clads, brædder, something, yeah, which are discarded in a large company doing wood that can stay outside for a long time because of some chemical processes. And their computers in the lean production, they take them away because they have these dots, or too many of them per square meter, something like that, and then they discard them. But then we can send them over to a company doing these plants. So they share their economy, they share waste as well. Also a high-end brand in Denmark. And this is a no-brainer. I mean, this is offcuts from kitchen industries where you have, like, when you order a kitchen, then you have a sink and a stove, and where you cut out the wood pieces or the marble pieces or whatever the kitchen is made of, then we send them to companies who do interior products. This is a pair of children's shoes where the leather is made out of leather offcuts from large furniture brand Mutu, doing sofas. So that's their offcuts. It's still a pilot, so it's not on the market, this one. But just to show you the possibilities. And here's is a building that's on its way right now in Denmark, where it's the metal sheets, facade plate, that are normally discarded because you always take the first 8 meters off a steel coil, and you discard it. It might have some scratches, but then we send them directly on so they can be used for new buildings where it count, what we call it count zero, because it's directly reuse. And one of another case is, I just love this case, because this is the carpets from exhibition industries, and it's actually called one-time use carpet, which also is quite crazy. So when it has had its one time out there, then it's normally discarded. It's normally just wasted. But then we take it in, we do a bit of transforming on the carpet, and then we can send it out as covering on building sites, which perform way better than what you use for covering floors on building sites. And it's also a win-win because they sell it and they buy it cheaper, and it's even a way better product. So that's the definition of upcycling, where you have the value of the material and you not only level it with the value it had, you even give it a higher value. And this carpet, it's made of PP, of plastic. It may one day go for a downcycling or recycling, which is fine, but we need to keep it up in the loop in the value chain as long time as possible, totally. Yeah, so that was a bit of what we do.
Well, I mean, it's very exciting, really, to put the value to the material, because I mean the numbers that you shared are enormous.
It is
really
enormous.
To see them like that. Your comparison with the old twin towers.
Yeah.
I mean, and saying that it's a waste of money, it's not even feasible in terms of linear thinking, let alone.
But we don't understand. I mean, maybe we understand our food waste because we see it every
Yeah.
day, and maybe we understand the waste of clothes because we see the pictures from the beaches, from everywhere.
Yeah.
But we don't see. So it's understandable that we don't grasp this. It is crazy.
Yeah. It's really very, very important. This is a combination actually. We bring a new approach to design, bring circularity to design, but we need materials, and those materials need to be provided in a circular way. And we have materials that are already produced, and your
Totally.
message is very important because you are saying that these are produced and we need to keep them in the loop as long as possible, which is circularity in essence. So,
But there's one thing that for an industry doing, for example, let's say you do kitchens, of course you don't know what they need. You know about your own stuff, you know about your own business. Of course you don't know what they need in the car industry, and you're not supposed to know. So you need to find, who can date my material with someone else, because I cannot go and get married in another industry. And that's what happens all over, that the material, when we upcycle it, it moves from one industry to another industry. And you cannot do that yourself, so you need to have, someone to help you do this.
yeah, you with this idea, actually you have created a strong bridge in between sectors to provide materials, and it's really amazing. And I'm sure that there are many other cases that you would like to share, but considering our time limit, I will ask one more question, Gülberk Hanım. I know that you're looking at me, but just 5 more minutes, bear with me, please, because I'm really I would really like to hear a bit, a short maybe evaluation about how you see the future of circular design. Is it going to be, more developed, or any other risks that we may be facing with? Plus, would you evaluate maybe some sectors are very more adaptive to circular design and using circular materials, or are there any such sectors? Maybe just a quick wrapping up the ideas, and I will start with Paula, and then to Rikke, and then finish the session. What do you think, Paula?
If I start with the sectors, at least we see in our work that it goes quite a lot hand in hand with the EU Eco-design Directive and those priority product groups. So those sectors are more advanced, I would say. And about the future, as already mentioned, in relation to the higher education, I believe that circular design will be streamed, and it is here to stay. And if we look at the current state of the companies, maybe globally, but especially in EU and in the Nordics, I would say that the last few years have been about piloting and innovating, and now due to the regulation and mainstreaming, the companies are starting to look at ways to scale up and how to turn their whole product portfolios to circular design instead of piloting with certain type of individual products. So I'm certain that we see a lot of scale up during the next years. Yeah.
Thank you, Paula. And Rikke, your thoughts?
I totally agree. There's been this popular television show in Denmark where you see 6 prominent designers working with different designs, and we send materials into them, and they are the ones who get the contracts afterwards because they take it into consideration. And you cannot talk about greenwashing when you take a piece of formerly known as waste and you put it into a luxury design object. Because you can see it, you can follow it. Also about the EU directive. So that's one thing, it's really moving. And I mean, we get so many applications from students, design student, architect, stuff like that. They are all, this is the way they're going. So that's definitely going to be a big thing. And regarding the industries, then when we started 5 years ago, where we saw it all started, because you need to have the demand. You need to have someone who can do this, who can use it. Everyone can say, buy my waste. I mean, yeah. But you need to have people who can use it. And what industry can use that and have the clients can make the money on it? It started in the furniture industry and in the exhibition industries. So in Denmark, you cannot go and drink coffee when you go to an exhibition of a plastic one-time cup anymore. It's not going to happen anymore. So it's really moving that industry as well. Architecture industry, toys, wherever you are closest to your end users, that's where it's moving the fastest. So that's where we target.
Yeah, that's very important. Thank you. I would like to thank both of you.
Thank you for inviting.
Very useful information and best cases that you have shared and your experiences. I also would like to thank our audience. Çok teşekkür ediyorum katılımınız için. Sözü Gülberk Hanım'a bırakıyorum.